Some people just know they could save hundreds on car insurance by checking Allstate first. Like to check the date of the big game first before you accidentally buy tickets on your 20th wedding anniversary and have to spend the next 20 years of your marriage making up for it. Yeah, checking first is smart, so check Allstate first for a quote that could save you hundreds. You're in good hands with Allstate. Savings vary, terms apply. Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
You go into your shower feeling, but as soon as you reach for the Irish Spring, your day immediately gets better. That crisp, fresh, unmistakable Irish Spring scent zings your brain and awakens your senses. So when you finally emerge from the shower, 37 minutes later, because you pay the water bill so you can stay in there as long as you want, you're ready to take on the day and smell great doing it. Irish Spring Body Wash and Bar Soap. Fresh, green, Irish. Shop now at Walmart.
It's time for a Big Blue Kickoff Live.
Nobody can ever tell you that you couldn't do it, because you did.
On Giants.com.
You know what I saw? New York Giant pride.
And the Giants mobile app.
17-14 is the final. One touchdown, we are world champions. Believe it, and it will happen.
Part of the Giants Podcast Network.
Let's go out there like a bunch of crazy dogs. Have some fun.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Big Blue Kickoff Live on this Friday, coming off the Giants' 20-15 loss to the Cowboys on Thursday Night Football. Big Blue Kickoff Live is presented by Cadillac, the official luxury vehicle of the New York Football Giants. You got Schmeelk and Dottino with you. If you listened to the post game last night, we talked a lot about this game. We'll do it again today, but I want to make sure we give you guys a chance to get it on the phones here at 201-939-4513. So, Paul, I'll summarize it, very basically, and then we can get into some of the finer details on it. It was a game of missed opportunities. I just finished my rewatch at around 12:15 today. I had to rush through some of the stuff, so I didn't focus on as much as I wanted to on some of the plays because I just wanted to finish it before the show so I could talk about it. And I walked away from the rewatch more frustrated than I was on the post game even last night. It goes fast during the game, and you don't necessarily see everything and remember everything. But, I have my play-by-play. You see what I do. I do notes on every play of what happens. And two parts of this. Offensively, where I think most of the issues you're going to end up pointing to in this game are going to come on the offensive side of the ball. Did the defense make enough big plays to help win this game? No, but you give up 20 points to the Dallas Cowboys with the way their defense has played this year. You should walk away from this game with the victory. First half, had opportunities to make big plays down the field with deep balls. Didn't make them. Ball location was not good enough. People say if Jones throws a better throw and the Neighbors throw the first one, it's going to be a touchdown. The safety had a pretty good angle, even if he hits him in stride. So could Neighbors make him miss and score a touchdown? Absolutely possible.
We don't know.
100%, but it's not a gimme. But still, could have been a better throw, but at least it was completed. All right? At least he didn't throw out of bounds or underthrow it or overthrow it like he has the last couple of weeks. He still completed the pass for 40 yards. All right? Still, could have been a better throw. The two plays that get me is the offsides play when they got Parsons to jump and Slayton's wide open down the right sideline and Jones underthrows him by about 5 or 6 yards. And it's a bad throw. And Jones said it in the postgame show. He says, I want to have that show back.
No doubt.
Have that throw back.
No doubt.
Bad throw. You got to complete that. The other, the cross-field throw on the over route, that's a really tough throw. Could he have thrown it better? Yes. But that's a tough throw. But if you want to get on that, fine. Could have definitely put that throw in. He should have put that throw in a better spot, but that's a very tough throw. If you're going to call that play, you've got to be expected to complete the pass. Then the illegal shift play, Paul. And I got to be honest with you, I was so frustrated by the illegal shift at the time, I didn't realize that it was actually called an incomplete pass on the field. I thought it was a completion that got called back from the illegal shift.
Really?
Yeah. So when I rewatched it this morning, I'm like, oh, man, that was a bad throw too. He let him out of bounds. Could Tracy have gotten his feet in? Sure. But wide open, you got to make a better throw on that too. Again, wouldn't matter because of the illegal shift. Either way, that's Theo Johnson. He's trying to yell at Tyrone Tracy on, I don't know what they're trying to do, communicating on the sideline on that play to get the illegal shift. Because Johnson ended up he was still moving when the ball was snapped, which is why it was an illegal shift. And then in the second half, the shoe's on the other foot. Daniel Jones was amazing. Ball was exactly where it needed to be. He completed a lot of balls in the middle of the field between 10 and 20 yards, some great intermediate, accurate throws. He was fantastic in the second half.
He was spectacular.
Then his wide receiver decided not to catch the ball. Robinson had that drop in the first half. Again, there was an illegal man downfield on the same play, so it didn't end up mattering. But still, that could have been a 10-yard gain that gave you a first down in the red zone. You had the Slayton deep ball where he kind of went to the ground, couldn't come up with it on a throw that I'm not going to call that a drop, but it's a throw. It's a throw that he could have made a play on. All right, well, there you go. Call it a drop if you want.
I'll tell you why.
And by the way, Neighbors had a drop in the first half, too, on the ball that hit him right in the chest.
I told you, I had 5 for the game.
There might be 6.
The Neighbors one that you're talking, or the Slayton one you're talking about, you know why I thought that throw was underrated? Because the defender was on the inside of Slayton. He throws it to the outside to make sure that the defender has no chance to get to that ball. So that's why Slayton had to reach back like this to go get it.
Oh, no. I don't mean the out route.
I'm not talking about the out.
That was the same drive. Earlier in that drive,
right,
the deep ball down the right sideline where Slayton won over the top, the ball was a little bit low, but it ended up hitting Slayton in the knee.
Oh, yes.
Sliding to the ground.
Yes.
That was the play I was referring to. That one was the tougher catch. If you want to call it a drop, you can.
No, I did not.
But that was a tougher play, but it's a play that I've seen wide receivers make before, too. The ball hit him
You'd like to see him make it.
The ball hit him in the knee as he went to the ground.
If he does, it's a play above the X's and the O's, which the Giants did not make any.
Sure, borderline. But again, later in that drive, and Slayton said it after the game, too, so we're not breaking any news.
The out route is a great throw. It's put exactly where it's got to be.
Absolutely perfect throw, but exactly where it's supposed to be, and he drops it. And then, of course, you have the slant to Robinson on the all-22. It's hard to see if his arm got grabbed. I thought on one of the TV replays you did see his front arm got grabbed a little bit, but he got loose, and he had 2 hands. He could have got 2 hands on the ball.
That's the
problem. He still had every opportunity to catch the pass.
In spite of what may have been some contact, he got free, and the ball is right there, and he's got 2 hands, and he can't make the grab.
And I'll put this to Giant fans. If that's a Cowboy trying to catch that ball, and they call defensive pass interference, you're going to be mad because they say, well, the guy had 2 hands on the football.
Right.
So catch the ball.
Catch the ball.
And then, of course, the final play of significance on the next to last Giants drive. You had the pass to Neighbors on the left sideline.
Those were back-to-back plays.
Yeah, back-to-back.
Third and fourth down.
Yeah, back-to-back plays, absolutely. And Neighbors, even before he hit his head on the ground, the ball was sliding out already, so it wasn't dropped because of that.
I had to call it a drop.
So,
I felt bad, but I had to do it.
Too. But it's the second one for him in that type of crucial fourth down situation in the fourth quarter, which you don't want to see. Great throw by Jones, rolling left to squeeze it in there.
I thought that was the most spectacular throw of the day.
He could have made an easier one. Singletary was open underneath, but
Understood.
Jones is running to his left. It's hard for him to look back the other way
Without
and recognize him coming in. The bottom line is that he hit his guy right in the hands on the sideline. Neighbors, again, he got his feet in. It would have been a great catch.
A tightrope.
Perfect throw.
With about an inch and a half to spare.
Yeah.
I mean, Jones was running out of room. Neighbors is running out of room. And he sends a tightrope right down the sideline. You couldn't ask for more.
So, I mean, it's just missed opportunities. And you talk about the drives down the field. Pearson, do me a favor. Can you pass me my white notepad on the table right on top there? I put a couple notes here because the Giants had 5 scoring drives, all field goals. Thank you. The first drive got short-circuited, Paul. And I'm sorry, I don't mean to talk long here.
It's okay. You're wound
filibuster
up.
you here.
You're wound up.
I just finished watching the game.
People accuse me of being wound up.
I'm a little wound up.
For a change, this is okay. I'm actually good with this.
On the first drive, Daniel Bellinger gets called for the phantom face mask penalty. And again, watching all the angles I have on the all-22.
There's no way.
He gets his face mask pulled. So there had to have been some type of miscommunication with the officials on the field, whatever happened.
His hand never came close to a face mask.
No, the hands was in the guy's chest.
Correct.
Second straight week where Bellinger got the raw end of the deal on a call. The holding call last week, which wasn't a penalty, and this one wasn't a penalty either. So that ends up pushing you back out of the red zone. That forces you to kick the field goal.
Well, it's this 30-yard change because
Correct.
it's 15
Correct.
that you get called for, and 15 they don't get called for.
Correct. So that takes you out of position to score a touchdown there. Big play. Second drive. That was the drive where you had the underthrow to Slayton on the offsides, and then you had the illegal shift on the great call by Davis, by the way. The fake screen to Neighbors. Everyone focuses in on that, and then he releases deep. Same way on the stop and go against Booth on that first drive. It's third and short. You figure do the quick stop route to Neighbors, stop and go, try to score. 2 great calls by Dable in those situations. 100%. Third drive, first and 10 at the 22. You have that Wan'Dale Robinson drop. That would have put the ball at the 10-yard line. You also have the illegal man downfield on Illuminor on that play. That puts you in a first and 15. Tough to recover from that when you're inside the 30-yard line. Then on the 5th drive, you had that turned into the field goal. You have Singletary running right. It was 2nd and 11. He tries to belly back. He ends up losing 3 or 4 yards on the play. If he just presses that on the initial outside run, he might gain only 1 or 2 yards, but then it's 3rd and 7 instead of 3rd and 14. That's a big deal.
Okay.
+2 instead of -3 or -4. That's a 5-6 yard swing there. That's a big deal. 3rd and 7 and 3rd and 13 are two very different down and distance situations, okay? So didn't like that decision by Singletary. Otherwise, I thought he actually ran the ball pretty well in the game. That was my only criticism
He
of him.
converted 2 4th and shorts
And
by just going right through.
Well, no, the first one.
The first one he had a
Wilson
dilly-dally.
was unblocked in the
He had a
backfield.
dance.
He had a really
dance.
nice play.
The other one he bullied forward.
And then on that 5th drive, after that play, the next play was a 3rd and 14 Slayton drop on the right sideline. So, guys, just missed opportunity after missed opportunity after missed opportunity. Very, very frustrating.
And on the other side of the slate, the Cowboys, I did not have them for any drop passes at all. No. They were clean. They played clean, fundamentally sound football. Prescott did not put the ball in harm's way.
Not penalty-wise. They committed a lot of penalties. Other than that, they were fundamentally sound.
Yes. I need to reverse
that's okay.
that a little
That's
bit.
fine. That's fine.
Prescott did not put the ball in harm's way once.
No.
Did not make what I consider an errant throw. He had a couple throwaways, but he did not make an errant throw.
The only one, maybe that little swing pass to Lepke that he put a little bit too far in front of him. That was the closest thing, and it still hit the guy in the hands.
Yeah. I don't consider that really an errant throw.
Nah, Dak was very good.
He was precise as could be all night, and his targets had flypaper for hands all night. So they didn't fritter anything away, although you're right. They had 9 penalties, was it, for the game?
I think 11. I think they had 11.
Was it up to 11?
Yeah, I'll double check it. I think it was 11.
So yes, they had a bunch of penalties, but execution-wise, in terms of making actual plays, they didn't fritter anything away, and the Giants just kept handing out that silver platter time after time.
11 for 89 for the Cowboys.
It was
in
11
that
for
game.
89. Yeah.
But yeah, all right. So that was my take on the offensive side of the ball. I thought the pass protection was very strong for the most part. Daniel got protected, I thought, for most of this game. They chipped Micah Parsons a lot. That's what I would do too. When Andrew Thomas was one-on-one, he did a good job. Parsons had a couple of inside move pressures in the game, but otherwise they did a nice job. DeMarcus Lawrence went out mid-game with that foot injury. He didn't play a ton in the second half, but overall, pretty good job. But then the other part of it offensively, Paul, and we talked about this all week leading up to the game and then on the pregame show, the Cowboys' run defense has been non-existent. It's been the worst in football.
Weeks.
Every metric you can look at, advanced, basic, simple, super-duper advanced.
Yeah.
Worst in the league. Every single one. There was no way to parse these numbers to not make it look like they were the worst rush defense in the league. And Brian Dable, this was kind of his big focus on his post-game presser. Giants couldn't run the ball. And they tried different schemes, and it's true. They still run traps. They ran power. They ran zone. They did a lot of different things. And quite frankly, Paul, the Giants' interior offensive linemen could not move the Dallas Cowboy defensive tackles off the line of scrimmage. That was the problem.
My sentiments to you on the radio postgame, and we said it on the MSG one as well, the one guaranteed lock that I counted on going into the game based on video evidence. This is not a figment of anybody's imagination.
No.
Based on video evidence, the Giants should win the trenches in this game. They should, on both sides of the ball. Certainly on the offensive line side of the ball. They should win the trenches. They did not. And my words to you on the radio postgame was, if I'm the coaching staff, that's the one thing that will gall me more than anything else out of this game tonight, is that should have been a guarantee that the New York Giants can play bully ball and run the ball and control the tempo and the context of this game, and they didn't do it.
If I told you before the game the Cowboys would run the ball and have 3 times as many yards as the Giants, would you have believed me?
Not in a billion years. There's nothing evidentiary going into the game that would have allowed me to think of that. I could not even contemplate that.
Yeah.
That to me, we talk about it. I said it last week. The trenches was the number one reason why I felt the Giants were in good position and could and very well should win this game. And the trenches betrayed them. They did not get it done in the trenches, more so on the offensive line than the defensive line. And if you're going to say that that's the root of how you win, it can also be the root of how you lose.
100%. A couple of notes in the game. I thought Cordell Flott played pretty good coverage on Brandon Cooks on a couple of those deep comeback routes.
He was my defensive game ball for the Giants.
I thought he did a nice
Cordell
job.
Flott had a good game.
I thought Kayvon Thibodeau had a nice game against the Cowboys left tackle Tyler Guyton.
Did okay.
Frankly, looking back at it, a couple of those holding calls, it looked like Thibodeau might have tripped, and then Guyton kind of just fell on top of him, but they called holds. Either way, he had a couple of pressures. He got after Dak Prescott a couple of times, forced a couple of offensive holding penalties. I thought he did a nice job. We talked about this in the pregame, how the Cowboys have Cooper Beebe at center. He's a rookie, but he's 335 pounds.
Yeah.
Double teaming him with Beebe and either Zach Martin or Tyler Smith, it was effective. Dexter had a lot of issues in this game. And again, double teams. He wasn't getting single teamed pretty much ever over the course of this game when I rewatched it this morning. But like even in the run game, there were a couple times where those Cowboys double teams actually moved him back off the ball. You never see that.
No.
So I wanted the Cowboys left tackle struggled in this game, but I want to tip my cap to the interior of their offensive line. I thought they did a real nice job against Dexter Lawrence. Probably the best I've seen a team play Dexter in over a year.
I would agree with that. For Dexter, that was a quiet game because his standard is so high.
Yeah.
I don't think he played necessarily a poor game.
Oh, no, and I'm not saying that.
By generic standards, it was not a poor game
Saying
for Dexter
he had
Lawrence.
trouble with the double teams is actually so funny. Because,
Yeah, right?
obviously, any
you are
player
supposed
should.
to have trouble with double teams, right? He's so good,
Yeah.
sometimes he doesn't, though, Pearson. You're right.
Yeah, that's exactly the point.
The best part of football season? Checking out the post-game stats. Which wideout scored more than 2 touchdowns? Which QBs threw for less than 350 yards? Think you can pick who will do what before kickoff? Then play Pick 6 from DraftKings, an official daily fantasy partner of the NFL. Download the DraftKings Pick 6 app, select between 2 and 6 players, and choose if they'll have more or less of a stat. It's that simple. And for all first-time Pick 6 players, check this out. New customers play $5 on your first pick set, get $50 in Pick 6 credits. Download the new DraftKings Pick 6 app now and use code DK1. That's code DK1 for new customers to play $5 on your first pick set, get $50 in Pick 6 credits. Only on DraftKings Pick 6. The crown is yours.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org in Connecticut. Must be 18 plus. Age and eligibility restrictions vary by jurisdiction. Pick 6 not available everywhere, including New York and Ontario. Void where prohibited. 1 per new customer. Non-withdrawable. Pick 6 credits. Expire in 6 months. Limited time offer. See terms at pick6.draftkings.com/promos.
Now, I will say I want to give credit to the Cowboys' offensive coaching staff for the scheme and the plan that they used, because everything out of Dak, we talked about this a little on the pregame, that they would do some rollouts with him, and they were going to do a lot of short stuff.
2.4 seconds average time to throw in this game.
And a lot of quick. Lot of quick game. I knew going in that would be an effective way for them to counter the Giants' pass rush that really kind of exploded against the Browns. What we did not know was, how was Bowen going to play it? Was he going to be more aggressive, or was he going to be a little more passive? He was a little more passive again.
Yeah, but I think again, blitzing isn't effective when a quarterback's going to get the ball out quick. So I think that makes a lot of sense. They held him to 20 points.
I know. That's
why
I'm holding the offensive line more accountable when I talk about the trenches failing. I'm holding them more accountable than the defensive line. But I will say there were some times that the defensive line was not as stout as you wanted them to be during the game.
Against the run in the second half,
they were not as consistent.
The first half, they were okay against the run. Second half, Cowboys had one drive. Remember, the Cowboys don't get a first down running it 3 straight times on their final drive. The Giants have 2 minutes to score on that final possession, not 30 seconds. So that was a big deal.
Absolutely.
Big deal.
And to be frank with you, I also did not necessarily enjoy this one either. 10 plays, 48 yards for the field goal that made it 20-15.
Yeah.
I did not enjoy that drive either.
Yeah, they ran it. I could bring up that drive real quick, Paul, if you want.
I got one.
That was in the fourth quarter, right? Yeah, so you had Prescott to Ferguson for 9.
4.
Daddle ran for 6 yards and 6 yards twice on that drive, and then he ran again for 4 yards. So
yeah.
You don't love that.
That's not the level of consistency that they needed. You know, they were a little bit. Maybe they were. I don't know. Were they tired? I don't know.
Giants did win the time of possession. The Cowboys did not have a lot of play.
No,
so I don't think it should have been fatigue.
I don't think it should have been either. Now it's a tough game. It's a tussle. It's a tug of war. It takes more out of you.
And it was very humid out. It was
question.
Extremely humid. You saw Trayvon Diggs have to get IV and all that
they
stuff.
They weren't as stout in that possession.
I agree.
And remember now, it's a 17-15 game until that possession when he kicks the field goal. So the Giants are only down by 2 points. If they could have just maintained their stoutness on that drive, maybe Dallas doesn't go 2 scores up.
All right, I want to get to the calls here. The last thing I'll bring up real quickly, because we're talking about it. There was a next-gen stat getting retweeted last night where next-gen stats didn't track Brian Burns, for a pressure for the first time in his career. Let me ask you something, Paul.
That's not true.
Let me ask you something. 6:26 mark in the first quarter here.
Yeah.
When you have a player bracketed and his name bracketed there, what does that usually mean? Right there. What does that mean? In the official stats.
Yes.
Just for fans that don't know, I have the play-by-player.
That counts as a quarterback hit.
So let me ask you something. If a player has a quarterback hit,
how did he not get a pressure?
How do you not have credit for a pressure? And Frank, when I watched the tape, I saw at least 2 other pressures, maybe a third, depending on how you want to judge them. So, next gen stats, I've talked about this with SciTac before. What they do, they don't have anyone viewing it. It's just distance from the quarterback when the pass is thrown, and that's how they judge whether or not there's a pressure.
Well, it's a computerized, electronically generated stat.
It's all automated.
Right.
So I would just be very careful with those fully automated stats. I know people blame, PFF, it's subjective. Yeah, but at least I have a human looking at something, right? And a human can at least use some common sense when you see something on tape. So I would just be careful with those fully automated next-gen stats. Sometimes they might be slightly deceptive, especially when on the official stats he has a quarterback hit. Hard to have no pressures when you have a quarterback hit.
I would say so.
Kind of
Indeed.
Hard. Just say.
I thank you for actually, taking that slant on that. I do. I think that's very cool.
I
know how I feel about analytics.
Well, I just thought it was funny.
We're anti-AI on this podcast.
I was a big Terminator 2 fan, Pearson. John Soto Podcast, Rapid Reaction from last night is up there. Madeline O'Hara, is that who it is, Pearson? So that's up there right now on the John Soto Podcast. Go check it out. We're not going to have another podcast this weekend. We'll be back next week with a Papa's Perspective early in the week. I'll try to grab Carl Banks at some point, too, as we continue to move forward with John Soto Podcast. Giants app, Giants.com/podcast. Just search for Giants Podcast or Giants Podcast Network on your favorite podcast platform. All right, let's get to your calls. 201-939-4513. 201-939-4513. Joe in New York will lead us off today. Hi, Joe.
Hey, how you guys doing, man? The Daniel Jones hate is driving me nuts, all right? The YouTubers who think they're Al Michaels or John Madden are making me crazy. I don't know what games they're watching, but the 3 games that he's played, the losses are not on Daniel Jones.
That is correct.
And everyone keeps saying, oh, Daniel Jones, Daniel Jones, Daniel Jones. The pass that he threw in the Commanders game to Neighbors, he should have caught that. The last pass he threw in this game, he should have caught that. He got hurt. I'm sorry about that.
Joe,
Daniel Jones.
The last 2 passes he threw in this game, in that drive, they should have caught. Robinson and Neighbors. That's correct.
Exactly. And he's doing what quarterbacks are supposed to do, put the team in a position to win. He did that.
I tell people all the time, he's one person. He can't throw it and catch it on the same play.
Now, Joe, in fairness, he has not been perfect in these games. He's had throws down the field that he's missed, but it's not on him.
The deep balls, he's struggling with the deep balls. I'll give him that.
Yep.
But I think that's going to come eventually. I mean, he's coming back from major knee injury, and people need to remember that. But I think he's going to hit those balls eventually. And the Minnesota game, I'm going to tell you right now, and I'm just speaking for me. I might be crazy, but I'm going to say this. That Minnesota game revealed the character of Daniel Jones because he could have folded, he could have crumbled, but after that Minnesota game, he's walking out, people are booing him and all that stuff. He said nothing. He let his play show it on the field. And if he continues to do that, I think the Giants should stay with him. That's what I think. I think the fans need to realize this. Do not let your emotions supersede your intellect. Watch the games. Watch the quarterback. He's mentally tough. He has all the tools to get it done. And these last 3 games, he has put them in positions to win games. It's not on him.
Thank you, Joe.
That's where I stand. All right.
Appreciate the call.
Very rational phone call.
Got to score touchdowns, though. And that's on the whole offense. It's not just on the quarterback, but you got to score touchdowns.
You know, it's funny. It takes a special kind of guy to be able to deal with the ups and downs here in New York. Make no mistake about that. I've said 1,000 times, if Manning, Roethlisberger, and Rivers had landed in different cities, Rivers had very thin skin. He would have collapsed here.
All three of those guys went exactly where they should have went.
I can't say that enough of times. I'll say that until the day they put me in the ground. Those three guys had to go to those cities. Roethlisberger was absolutely built for Pittsburgh and the climate there. Rivers, with his Kleenex paper-thin skin, was built to be out in California and in San Diego for all those years because he never could have survived here in New York.
He was a tough player on the field now. Like, he took a lot of hits. He played through the ACL. Tough as nails on the field.
I'm not talking about on the field.
I'm
talking about up here.
I know what you were saying. I just didn't want fans to misunderstand.
Right. Yeah. Up here, that's a different deal. And Ben had such adulation in Pittsburgh because that is an all-out football city. And that they overlooked a lot of his
if he had that off-the-field stuff here in New York, that would not have worked.
It would not have sold.
No, it would not. He would have been out of here.
So think about that. That's why Eli was able to survive and thrive here. Daniel Jones has that makeup and has shown us now several times to get up off the ground and hold his own and stand on his 2 feet and deal with it.
I agree with all of that. But you only get so many chances of big plays down the field in a game.
I know.
And eventually you got to, if you want to start scoring 27 points, Paul,
I know.
You got to start connecting on those two. And again, this is not me blaming the game on Daniel. He's just, the Giants' losses, the Minnesota game, you want to put a lot of that on him, that's fine. He did not play well in that game, okay? No problem with that.
Dreadful game for everybody.
The other two losses, he was not even probably the first or second problem in those two games. And I couldn't believe I got home last night and I'm laying down, trying to go to bed. Stupid idiot. I opened my phone. And I'm looking and I'm like, this is really what the comp is. I'm watching the game last night. I take notes. I don't look at Twitter. I'm doing the post game. I'm looking at Twitter. I'm focused on what I'm trying to do to put the best post game shot for you guys.
No doubt.
And really? No one's tweeting the drops.
I know.
No one's tweeting the 26 rushing yards.
Again,
he missed opportunities. I'm not saying he didn't. I'm not trying to take him off the hook here, folks. I opened the show with it. It was the first thing out of my mouth when I started the show. 29 of 40 for 281 yards and no interceptions because the Hail Mary
is
That's 70% completions for 281 yards. Almost 10 yards of completion. It's a good day. If you just look at the numbers, you got to score touchdowns. Fine, but overall, that's a good day.
And, here's the other thing that they talk about when teams win. They will talk about what did the quarterback do, because we know the quarterback's the magnet, right, John?
Mm-hmm.
The good and the bad will always go to him first.
Of course.
Okay. Usually, when teams win, they'll go to the quarterback, especially in tight games, and they'll say, well, did he put the ball where it needed to be in the fourth quarter when they needed it to happen? And he did. So we're going to praise him double time. Well, when the team loses, you also have to ask the same question. Right. When the team needed it the most, did he execute to the top of his game and put the ball where it needed to be? When the chips were on the line and it was time to make a play, did he make his part of the play? Well, you have to ask yourself that same question. He did. He did it in Washington, and he did it last night. I can only say, to be fair, you have to ask that question on both sides of the coin. And if you do, Daniel Jones did pass that test. Twice.
201-939-4513. Joe in Pennsylvania is up next. Pearson. Joe, how are you?
Wonderful. No,
you're a liar, Joe. I know you're not wonderful.
No, I am wonderful.
Okay, I'm glad.
I got to look at the positive. We've been getting our ass kicked by Dallas the last how many years, and in that game we went even. I mean, there was ref calls of phony face mask, and that could have changed the play, and I thought Daniel played good as usual, and our receivers, I think at the end are young, and I think they were a little exhausted again, and that's what happens with the drops. Slayton had that one go right through his hands too, so I do look at it that we caught up with Dallas, and as the season goes on, maybe it'll surprise us. We have a lot of young guys. I'd like to see a little bit more of our tight ends receiving something. And then I look at the quarterback again, Daniel and Zach. Did they tell me he's the highest paid quarterback now at $60 million or so, and Daniel's getting $40? That's a bargain. I'd take Daniel over him any day.
I mean, Dak was pretty good in the game, Joe. I don't want to take anything away from Dak.
But I don't think he's. If you think he's that much better than Daniel, I don't think so. You know what I mean? Maybe he has a better receiver, a little better offensive line yet. You know what I mean?
Joe, I'm not a big Dak Prescott fan, never have been. But, boy, does he bring out his best against the Giants. And he's done it time and time again. He really has.
I'm not saying, but if I had to buy him or Daniel, I'd go with Daniel. The only thing that worries me about Daniel is his injuries there. So, whatever, we'll see how it goes on. And no, I think he's playing there. We have a lot of young guys on defense and on offense, and they're young. So. But we definitely closed the gap there big time. Don't you think? Anything, a play here or there, if we would have scored a touchdown, and we could have won the game.
No, look, Joe, 100%, and appreciate the call and the sentiment. And I kind of led the post-game show. Not led, but I brought up in the first or second segment last night that, all right, well, last year they got outscored, 80-17 in the two games, something like that, whatever it was.
2 40-point games.
And I said, you know what, at least and Bob, frankly, shut me down. He's like, John, hold on a second. Are we in the business of trying to win football games or not? And I go, you know what, Bob? You're right. So, yes, when we sit here after the year, can we look back and say, all right, have you closed the gap between yourself and the Cowboys? Sure. Now, is that the Giants getting so much better or the Cowboys sliding back a little bit? We can have that conversation after the year when we see where these two teams finish, right?
Right.
But is that great? Sure. But I think the morning after, it's just frustrating that you had another division game, 2 of them now, that you had a chance to win late and you couldn't pull them out.
I'm going to take a different angle on this, and it's not necessarily a pleasant one. In the Cowboys are now 14-1 in their last 15 games against the Giants, including 8 wins in a row. During that time frame, the Giants have only scored 20 or more points 4 times.
Oh, boy.
And most of those times, it was because Dallas executed a tremendous pass rush with stunts and twists and beat the stuffing out of the Giants quarterbacks and made them run around like a chicken without a head.
After Dallas came out to a big lead.
Because they would pin their ears back and come hard.
Yep.
They also would use an incredibly speedy and quick back 7 on defense that just seemed to like they had 13 men on the field, and they would suffocate the Giants. We've seen that story unfold time and time and time again.
They didn't look like that team yesterday.
That's not what happened last night.
Correct.
The Giants' offensive line, in terms of pass pro, did a sufficient job. In terms of speed, no. I think the Giants were not outspeeded by the Cowboys last night. And so here you are with an entirely different narrative. And yet what happened? The Giants still not only lost the game, they still didn't score 20 points, John. I'm sorry to say.
I know. That's why it's so frustrating.
I'm agreeing with you, just in a different angle.
No, I'm with you. I will say this. I'm not going to be thrilled to see DeMarvion overshown for the next however many years. How fast is that guy? Basically covered Malik Neighbors on a speed out.
He did not have good advanced defensive stats against the pass, but then he looked very athletic last night.
Yeah, I'm not looking at his zone drops.
I think he had given up 10 of 11 targets in terms of completions during the early part of the season.
Using the analytics, I like it. But I just meant selling the sideline speed. He got out there. He was tracking guys to the sideline. It was pretty impressive.
This was one of those games where the Giants did more to self-destruct.
Let's go to Mike in Florida. He's up next on Big Blue Kickoff Live. Hey, Mike.
Hey, guys. I got some friends in the greater Syracuse area, and they called this morning, and they think that Daboll is calling a game better suited to Josh Allen rather than Daniel Jones.
In what way?
2 ways. They say that Allen throws a deeper ball better, and he throws it quicker, that his release is quicker, and that he doesn't throw the ball down below the waist for his receivers. It's mostly from the waist and chest up. And so their view is that Jones has either got to work on his power throwing or Daboll has got to recognize that Jones has certain strengths and he's got to, optimize them.
Well, Mike, I'll say this. The only throw in that game, real quick, that I would kind of put in the category of throws you're talking about is the one where they asked Jones to roll right and then throw back across the field. I think that was a play they used for Josh Allen in Buffalo, if I recall. That looked like a Josh Allen play.
That one did.
And look, no one's going to throw the ball like Josh Allen. The guy is a mutant. He's a freak show.
Very special.
So Daniel's not going to be Josh Allen. And Brian Daboll doesn't expect him to be Josh Allen either. But that was the only throw that I really thought in the game that they set up where I was like, all right, you're asking a lot to make that throw across the field. Yeah. The other plays were very makeable.
The degree of difficulty on that snap was hard.
May I ask you fellas this question? How many plays did you see last night where the Giants receiver slowed down waiting for the ball to get to them on a deep throw?
Oh, no, Mike, absolutely. It happened way too much. No, it happened way too much. You're absolutely right, but I don't think that has to do with play design. I just think that's a matter of, remember, the first 3 weeks, Daniel was overthrowing his receivers deep. He overthrew his receivers a bunch the first 3 weeks. This is the first game he was underthrowing them. He was overthrowing them the first few games of the year.
And your friends up in Syracuse wouldn't even have the ability to make any of these comments if the Giants didn't have Singletary drop the ball at the 35 of Washington, if Neighbors had held on to a 4th down pass at the 10-yard line, if Robinson and Neighbors had held on to those balls last night. I mean, I love that when the ultimate result is a loss, now the nitpickers come out from everywhere and come up with the most creative theories, from left field and out of space.
Yeah, Mike, I would say this.
I mean, seriously,
Mike, you're absolutely right that too many deep balls were underthrown in the game. You're 1,000% right about that. No argument. No one would have that debate with you. That happened. That is fact. But I don't care what quarterback you are. You're going to have plays designed to throw the ball deep down the field, and you got to make them. And you don't have to have Josh Allen's arm to make those throws.
No.
That's all I'm saying.
And in truth...
Thank you for the call, Mike. Appreciate it.
In truth, as I was sitting with Jonathan during the first half yesterday, and he pointed out 4 or 5 completions where he thought Jones could have done a better job with the ball placement. And we mentioned this on the postgame.
That was in the first half of the game, right?
But then I said to Jonathan, all right, now think of those plays again. Was there a lot of room for the receiver to truly get yak yardage had he placed it any better? And we agreed that on, I think, 4 of the throws, it was either 4 out of 5 or 3 out of 4, where the defender was within 2 yards anyway, and chances are there was not going to be yak yardage.
Right.
So the ball placement would not have been as impactful as the critics would want it to be.
Now, I will say this. After that throw across the field where he underthrew Neighbors a little bit, I did turn to Lexi, our producer. I go, not quite Josh Allen. I did
and that's
say
fair.
That. Yeah. That was a tough throw.
Again, high degree.
Correct.
All right, so there was one very high degree of difficulty play.
You remember, though.
Brian Daboll called, I thought, a solid game.
They ran that exact play in training camp.
Yes, they did.
And he completed it.
Yes, I know.
Over the top.
I'm aware.
Neighbors, same thing. Roll right, throw back to your left.
I'm aware.
He threw it perfectly. And this is how I know he can make the throw. We saw him make the throw in practice.
Yes, we did.
It was a difficult throw, but we literally saw him run that play in camp practice over the summer, the exact same play, and he completed it on the button to Neighbors, going away from him to the left after he rolled out to his right.
It
was one of the best throws at camp.
Everybody was ultra excited about the play.
We saw it. We saw it firsthand.
So he's capable of doing it.
And we saw him also complete the pass to Tracy, the little fake screen to the right, and then the guy releases and he goes. We saw him complete that pass in training camp too.
So there's nothing wrong with stating the facts that, okay, those plays need to be made. That's perfectly fine.
Oh yeah.
But then to come up with some cockamamie theory behind it, no, I'm not going there.
All right, Wilson. What's going on, buddy?
Hey, Johnny. Hey, Paul. How are you?
Hi.
Hey,
could be better, Wilson. What's up?
We all could be better, but listen, I mean, whatever respect I have for Brian Dable, which was very little, is gone out the window.
I was waiting for the fourth down complaints. Here we go.
Because, Johnny, listen, before you tell me, I'll say it for you. Whoa, Wilson. Yo, what's up? He won Coach of the Year 2 years ago. He's untouchable. He's got an unexpired credit card, so whatever. Okay,
Wilson, by the way, on the postgame show last night, Wilson, on the postgame show last night, Paul said to me he would have went for it on fourth down in that spot, so you might have an ally with you today.
Well, because if you want to lose by 5 instead of 15, if you want to get like a participation trophy, I didn't know we had to throw a parade because we lost only by 5. But
who's
doing that?
Wilson,
who's doing that?
We haven't done that today.
Who's going there, Wilson?
No, not you guys. But
okay.
when I got to hear that, we got young kids and everything's whatever.
No, Wilson. This is a game that could have been won. If you want to argue about the level of should have won, you can do that all you like. But we're not sitting here sugarcoating this. We're not.
I'm not, Paulie. Listen, Paulie. Let me ask something. You lost to a team 8 years in a row. Okay. Dallas doesn't respect you because Dallas knows that whenever they need a play, they're going to get a play. You're on the 3-yard line. You kick a field goal. You kick a field goal to go down by 2. What's the point, Paulie? What's the point? Tell me what's the point of being 14-12?
Hold on, Wilson.
Or being,
now you're opening up the box that he just mentioned a moment ago, and I first guessed and said I would have gone for the 4th and goal from the 3.
Okay.
And my reasoning was what you just said. I did not want Dallas to embolden themselves by keeping you down by taking the field goal. You take that punch and try to hit that bully in the mouth and try to grab that lead and punch back. I would have gone for it. But to be fair, this is one of those items that I said to John on the game last night after the game. I said, John, there's no right or wrong answer here. You can make a logical case for both teams.
Yeah, because Wilson, my first guess as I was watching, and I said this in the postgame last night too, since the Giants had so much trouble running the football, you were in a situation where at 4th and goal from the 3, you would have to pass it, right? You can't run it in that spot. You have to throw the football. And in that condensed area of the field, I didn't feel great about making it. Now, I've thought about it more since, and Paul has honestly pulled me a little bit more to his side. So I totally get where you're coming from in that. I understand it. For one, I wanted them to go for it on the 4th and 4 on the first drive at the Dallas 34-yard line.
And I was on the other side of that one.
Yeah, exactly. But I think you can argue both
Which
ways.
is why there's no right or wrong answer.
Right.
And for you to want to scalp the coach for those decisions does not make any rational sense at all.
Okay, Paulie, let me ask you something. So we have a. I want to get to my other point, but real quick.
No problem.
So we have a great head coach, according to everybody, that can't win a game. So then either we change the head coach or we change the 52 players. You cannot have it both ways. You cannot have good players and good head coach and never win.
Can the head coach hold on to the ball when it's thrown to him?
Okay, then.
No, I'm just asking you. I'm asking you.
No.
He can't, right? That's not his problem, right?
No, but Wilson is saying, well, then if it's not the coach, it has to be the players. That's the point he's making.
You can't have your cake and eat it too.
Okay, but aren't we not holding the players accountable for not having a good running game? Are we not holding them accountable for drops?
Yeah,
are we not?
I think we are.
okay, you know what then? I don't want to see Darius Slayton on the field again because he drops a pass every game and the most inopportune time all the time. So then, okay, so you don't want, so it's not the head coach fault. Then don't put Darius Slayton again on the field. I don't want to see him anymore. I don't want to see Darius Slayton on the field. So you cannot have your cake and eat it too. You cannot say to me that Brian Daboll is a good head coach where he doesn't win anything, or then the players are good and they drop the ball. So one of them's got to give.
No,
one of them's
Wilson, look,
Wilson,
Wilson, I totally get what you're saying. The one question I'll ask you, just answer this question, and then you can make your final point.
Sure.
Okay?
Sure.
I know you're a big Daniel Jones guy, right? And you feel like Daniel is a good quarterback and he can make it.
Yeah.
Do you think you're doing the quarterback any favors from moving on from yet another head coach that also runs his offense?
Johnny, I don't know, Johnny. But
yes,
what I
do,
do
Wilson.
know is what I see. What I do know is what I see on the field. Okay, what I see, because Daniel Jones is the only quarterback in the NFL. Everything is Daniel's fault. But Daniels is the only quarterback in the NFL that he's not allowed to miss a throw. I mean, if Daniel Jones misses a throw, the game is over. It was his fault. He missed a throw in the first quarter. It cannot be like that, Johnny. And my last point is this.
We actually agree on that point.
All right, my last point is this. You can give me all the next thing, stats and the whatever, the pro football. You know what? About dominance, Dexter Lawrence dominance, and the pass rush and everything. You know what I see, man? Every time the Giants need a stop, they can't get a stop if their life depends on it.
They got it last week, Wilson.
Against Washington.
Last week they did.
They were lucky against Cleveland. And yesterday they let Ezekiel Elliott, which is 50 years old, run for 8 yards on first down. And the game was over. So Johnny, something. All right.
No, look, Wilson, you're not wrong about that. That's fair.
The last 2 weeks, they didn't get any takeaways.
Yeah.
Okay? And by the way, if you listen to the post game last night,
they had 2 takeaways against the Browns.
I'm sorry.
Against the Commanders in Dallas,
the
they
2
didn't have
losses.
any takeaways. Correct.
I'm sorry. What I meant to say was the 2 losses. The last 2 losses, they did not get any takeaways.
Appreciate the call, buddy.
And if you listen to the post game last night, we said that. We brought it out.
Yeah, JC was all over that.
And we specifically said, when we talk about playing above the X's and the O's, you got to be able to go get the ball sometimes. And the 2 losses, they did not.
And there's been too many times that the defensive line has not been consistent enough impacting the opponent's passing game. Is that fair to say?
I think especially in the 2 losses.
I was thinking the Commander game and the Cowboys game specifically. Right. Correct.
Right.
And they're getting the ball out quick, and they're trying to mitigate that pass rush by getting the ball out quick. That's all true. But it is what it is, man.
The best part of football season? Checking out the post-game stats. Which wideout scored more than 2 touchdowns? Which QBs threw for less than 350 yards? Think you can pick who will do what before kickoff? Then play Pick 6 from DraftKings, an official daily fantasy partner of the NFL. Download the DraftKings Pick 6 app, select between 2 and 6 players, and choose if they'll have more or less of a stat. It's that simple. And for all first-time Pick 6 players, check this out. New customers play $5 on your first pick set, get $50 in Pick 6 credits. Download the new DraftKings Pick 6 app now and use code DK1. That's code DK1 for new customers to play $5 on your first pick set, get $50 in Pick 6 credits. Only on DraftKings Pick 6. The crown is yours.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org in Connecticut. Must be 18 plus. Age and eligibility restrictions vary by jurisdiction. Pick 6 not available everywhere, including New York and Ontario. Void where prohibited. 1 per new customer. Non-withdrawable. Pick 6 credits. Expire in 6 months. Limited time offer. See terms at pick6.draftkings.com/promos.
Mark in Atlanta. He's up next. Hi, Mark.
Hello, gentlemen.
Sorry for making you follow Wilson there, buddy.
Excuse me?
I'm sorry for making you follow Wilson there, buddy.
That's tough.
Oh, no. I have the utmost respect for you guys. I am a retired athletic director from a high school in Miami.
Oh, nice.
And, I got to sit on the sidelines and watch Sean Taylor play.
Oh, wow. That's cool.
Quite an impressive player and a great kid. I have a couple of questions. And if people remember when Daniel started, his best thing was throwing long.
It was.
Correct.
Yeah, I think,
Remember
what was
him
it,
and
three?
Darius Slayton and
3
all
years
that?
ago,
Yeah.
Mark, I think he led the league in completion percentage on passes that traveled
Right.
20 or more yards. I think that was 2021, maybe, the year he did that, maybe.
And he's had he's coming back from a serious knee injury, and it's going to take him a little time. That's the hardest to really get.
That's the one thing that I think all of us are we've already taken it for granted because we've seen him over the summer, John, do so well with his rehab, and he was so advanced, and he came right into training camp, and he's full go.
Well,
and we've kind of pushed that aside, and we haven't even talked much about the fact that he really did have to make a dramatic comeback.
Mark, and it's weird. We've kind of gone through swings here, right? The first, I'd say, week and a half of camp, he was behind on a lot of his throws, and he was underthrowing a lot of deep balls. Then the last 2 weeks of camp, he really sharpened up, and he was hitting these guys, and he was looking great. Then the first 3 weeks of the regular season, he's overthrowing everybody, and he's too strong on a lot of these throws. Then in week 4, he's underthrowing guys. So it's kind of just been these weird, waves. It has not been consistent enough.
But certainly the last 3 weeks, he's played good enough to give his team a legit chance to win.
Yeah. I have a question, and I have the one thing that's been bothering me the whole season, and it's bothering me, and I hate to bring this up. My question is this. The offensive line has improved tremendously, something I coached years and years ago. But did they have to use so much money in free agency that they didn't sign Saquon?
Yeah, you gotta pay for those guys.
Because I see so much of a difference. I get it.
I get it.
Devin Singletary's been pretty good, though. I don't want to kill Singletary. Obviously, those 2 fumbles are a problem, but I think Singletary's done a nice job.
He has, and I think he has. I just think that move has put us. I think what's his name is doing a great job coaching. I enjoy watching the offense, everything. I just think that move has really hurt us, and it's going to take a while for us to catch up.
There's no doubt from a talent perspective, and you know how I felt about this all along, it was a major hit. I still think that Barkley, forget what he's doing right now for Philly under different circumstances. I've said all along, without question, he's one of the top 3 all-around running backs in the game. I still believe that.
Yeah.
Okay?
I do.
So it was a loss of talent when he walked out the door. But yeah, free agency costs a lot. That's why they tell you build through the draft. Because in free agency, your money is going to go out the door really, really quick. And when you have to go get offensive linemen, which is the core and the foundation of what you need to do to be successful in this league, you're going to have to, I hate to use this word, but you're going to have to, quote, pay up. Yeah. And the Giants had to pay up. And
now, unfortunately, that's because some of the guys they drafted didn't end up.
That's a
hitting.
consequence.
Correct.
That's a consequence. But, Illuminor costs some money, and Runyon costs some money. You saw in Hard Knocks how, it was those 2 guys and it was Hunt. And Hunt costs as much as those 2 guys combined. So they think they did really well by getting 2 starting offensive linemen when the 3rd guy they targeted would have cost what they got paid together.
Wow.
And you also lost Ashawn Robinson because of that too. He's another guy that I would have loved to have.
So
back.
Look, I'm not going to pull any punches here. My dad said to me this morning. We were on the phone this morning as I was coming down here, and one of the things he said to me was, "Man, what do you think if Barkley was still here? He's leading the league in rushing for Philly.
He wouldn't be leading the league in rushing here.
Dad,
first of all,
stop right there. He's not doing that if he's behind last year's line here. Okay? Because you couldn't have him running behind Runyon and behind Illuminor.
He's in an ideal situation in Philly.
Exactly. It's a different deal.
Okay.
Here he was basically 3 wheels on a car. There he's got all 4 wheels. They got a better line.
Right. One other thing, and I think as I listen every day, that's retirement life.
Well, thank you though for your interest.
Yeah, thank you for that.
But as I listen every day, these people that call in want to get rid of Daniel or want to get rid of, Dable, or you don't want to start it over again. You need to have some consistency now, and live with it, and just build.
Yeah, I think the one issue that I will say,
appreciate the call,
and this is the tightrope that the Giants have to walk right now, and we've discussed this going into the season, and that's why I'm not going to two-face it. At some point, no matter what the hurdles are, no matter what the landmines are, no matter what the potholes are in the road, at some point, Daniel Jones has to be able to get the Giants in the win column. He's got to be able to do things that show everybody in the organization that he is part of a success story. And you cannot always keep talking about the other reasons. And I'm not going to use the word excuses, because these are legit reasons why the Giants are losing these games. At some point, he has to be able to overcome all of this stuff, and if it means that he can't make more than one errant pass in a game, well, then that's what he's got to do. I know it's asking a ton. It's asking him to be superhuman. It's being unrealistic. But if that's what it's going to take, then maybe that's what it's going to take. Right, John? Because ultimately, it's just not enough to be competitive. You got to get wins.
All right, last 3 weeks, while you were discussing that, I did a little compilation. All right, over his last 3 games, Daniel Jones, 68% completions, averaging 232 yards per game, 4 touchdowns. You want to give him 1 interception on the Hail Mary? Fine. It's really 0 because that interception was just a heave at the end of the game. And he's only taken 4 sacks, and he has a 96 quarterback rating.
Okay, and the important thing to add to context to that.
And the Browns have a good defense that they face in the middle there. Like Dallas and Washington, I'm not so sure about.
Okay, but the important thing to add to context is that not just that the Browns have a pretty good defense, but that the 2 losses were competitive games right down to the end.
Yeah, there was no garbage time involved.
So there are no garbage stats there.
That's a good point.
Those are all legitimate stats.
Now,
legitimate.
Is it Patrick Mahomes numbers or Josh Allen numbers? No, but guys, 68%, 232 yards per game, 4 touchdowns, no real interceptions, has taken just 4 sacks. I think his pocket presence has been a lot better as he's gotten better protection.
That's absolutely true.
And a 96 quarterback rating. Like, if I told you that he averaged that over the course of the year, I'd have people climbing the walls here ready to sign that contract and sign up for that.
I got a better one for you. If you gave that stat line out and didn't attach his name to it, people would tell you how much they'd like to have that guy.
That's a much better one. And again, that's not to say that you cannot do better on the deep balls. That has to get better to score more points.
That's
no
all
argument.
True. It's all true.
But the overall performance the last 3 weeks has been more than good enough to win these
and maybe that stuff on some of those deep balls, maybe that's that little extra thing that he needs to start doing right away.
Yeah.
To get him over the hump.
Let's go to Jay. I think you're exactly right, Paul. Let's go to Jay in Brooklyn. He's our final caller today. Jay, what's going on?
Hey, guys. Hey, first of all, I went to the game last night. It was a great presentation by the Giants. I love the little wrist light synchronization thing. It's pretty cool.
Hey,
cool.
Jay, do me a favor. A lot of times they'll send out surveys of whether or not you like the stadium presentation. If you really did like it, please take the survey and rate us high. I know the guy.
I'll be honest. The kids loved it. It was amazing.
Good. I appreciate that.
Glad.
I just think one of the problems with, the Daniel review is you have the fans like the first caller who he can do no wrong, right? And he's basically the next Dan Marino. Then you got the guys like Charlie who want to get rid of him tomorrow. The problem with Daniel is he's a mid guy, guys. Like, he's not a needle mover. He's just
no. Daniel right now, would say, is a middle of the road NFL quarterback. Yeah, I mean, if you want to look at he's a middle of the road starter. And by the way, he is the 15th highest. He's the 15th highest paid quarterback in football. That's how he's paid.
Right. And that's what's frustrating fans.
Yeah, quite frankly, okay. If he's between 10 and 15, and you can, I don't think he's top 10. I don't think he's top 10.
Hey, look, even be fair. Say he's somewhere between
13 and 15,
and 18,
13 and 16.
Even let's say 15 and 18,
okay.
let's say.
The point is, that's not a guy who deserves to be run out of town.
No, but it's also a guy that is not going to win you games consistently either.
Well, but Jay, but
He's
that's
put them
why.
in position.
No, but Jay, I think you hit it. I think you hit this. I think you're right on it. He's not a guy you run out of town, but he's a guy that maybe you are looking to upgrade on. How'd the Giants operate last offseason when you watched Hard Knocks? That's exactly how they operated.
But that's what's frustrating. I think that's what's frustrating. I mean, listen, I'm not a crazy, go off the rails fan. I'm more middle of the road guy. And it's hard to accept that he's this guy. And that's like one of the reasons we break down every drop, right? Every drop is so crucial, and every, missed pass is so crucial. Because one of the reasons is, I'm going to be honest with you, John, he doesn't get them in the end zone. I don't remember them throwing the ball in the end zone last night.
Did they throw the ball in the end zone?
They did
No,
not.
I do not believe they did, Jay. That's a fair point.
Here's what I'll say to you.
How is that possible?
I tell people, and I've held this now for years. I haven't said it much lately, but I've held this standard for years. To me, an elite quarterback, your top of the top guys, they've got to be able to pull a victory out of their butt 3 or 4 times during the course of the season, where everything's going wrong and they just decide, I'm not losing this game. This team is going to win. And they perform remarkable feats and make sure that their team wins. If you could do that 3 or 4 times in a season, but I usually say 3, that makes you elite. How many elite quarterbacks do you think are in the NFL every single year? And if you're going to tell me there's more than 5, then I'll tell you you're lying to me. Because that's what makes quarterbacks elite. Which basically means most teams in this league are not going to get a hold of one of those guys.
No, I agree, but that's also an argument that we're not looking for elite most. I think we're just looking for very good.
Well, I think Daniel Jones is good. He's a solid good.
There, Paul.
He's a solid good. That's where I'm putting Daniel Jones. He's a solid good. Now, here's the problem.
That's arguable, but I understand where you're going. I understand.
Well, the problem is, you're not getting your hands on the elite guys.
No, it's hard. They don't exist.
So you just have to accept the fact that he's not going to be that guy.
That's the point.
He's not an elite. He's not Mahomes.
That's why you'll get the 2 arguments. It's like, for instance, like if he hits Neighbors in stride, or if he hits Slayton on that pass, we're probably not breaking down the drop to Slayton at the end of the game.
No, that's fair.
Oh,
we're probably not breaking down.
And that's where we just said before, a few minutes ago, what did I say? Daniel has to find a way to overcome all of these other reasons. And if it means that he's got to hit more of those balls, then that's the way he can do it. And that's very, very hard to do, but he's going to have to. If the Giants are going to keep playing this level of ball, he's going to have to pull some games out of his butt. He's going to have to do it.
He doesn't have a choice. And I think,
you're right.
I'm going to be honest, looking at this offense, again, I'm not a coach. You guys know way more football than I do. You're in training camp. You talk to these players. There's a part of me that feels that Daboll, to a degree, is holding back some of this offense because of Daniel's abilities.
Oh, I don't think so.
They never attack the center of the field.
Oh no, Jay!
That's so not true.
Last night, how many of those deep in cuts did they complete last night?
But they didn't complete any of them. Oh, but okay, yes.
Yeah, they did. Cut, yeah. You had Slayton on deep in cut. You had Neighbors on a deep in cut.
No, what I'm talking about is the tight end seam.
The tight end seam hasn't been thrown here since Sims and Bavaro. Come on, that part of that playbook is long retired.
Shockey caught a couple.
He caught a few, seams. But it was Sims and Bavaro. That was their play.
Yeah, and then another thing is I've never seen a team throw this much, but also throw behind the sticks this much.
More of the Giants' playbook has been mutated by lack of confidence in the consistency of the offensive line, or even 2 years ago, by a wide receiver room when they made the playoffs that was decimated.
It was actually funny. In the game last night, they actually threw past the sticks more on second down.
They did.
Than they did on third down.
They did.
You're right, Jay. There was a lot of try to get run after the catch on third downs and stuff like that. But on second down, they actually did complete a bunch of 11, 12-yard passes beyond the sticks. And the thing that's annoying for me, that Slayton drop on 3rd and 14, they threw that beyond the sticks.
Yes.
And if he would have caught the damn thing, it would have been a 1st and goal from the 10-yard line.
Exactly.
And the last thing I'll get off, guys, and thanks for everything. Again, great presentation last night. I'll take care of the survey.
Great call, by the way, Jay. Good stuff.
Dallas, you want to wait till the season plays out? This is not a great team, what I saw last night.
No, I agree with that. I think that's fair.
This is not Dallas 2 years ago or even a year ago. This is not a primetime top team.
You know, I was asked last night, Amy Lawrence had me on the network show last night, and I said to her, she asked me about the NFC East. She said, you've seen 3 of the teams, and I'm sure you've watched Philadelphia on television. What do you think about the division? I said, I don't think this division has a big-time team in it right
I think
now.
Philly's pretty clearly the best team, but they have not been overly impressive to me
No.
either.
You can talk about the NFL in general. If San Francisco's taking a step back, I mean, anyway, regardless.
Well, the quicksand of mediocrity is permutating, my man.
That's right. And the last thing is, one of the things is also, that's first, they're healthy, knock on wood. That's why you want to see, I mean, we've always talked about, no healthy offensive line, Saquon's out. They are healthy for the better part on offense. You have to see more production. It's just simple as that. You can't, they're averaging right now, I think, 15 points a game. It's not good enough, guys. At the end of the day, it's just not.
No, it's not. You got to score more points, Jay. We're with you on that. That's a good, measured phone call.
Yeah.
I'm happy we ended on that.
I didn't agree with every point entirely, but it was a reasonable call.
Yeah. I mean, I think good call, Jay. Guys, and good job with the phones today. I know everyone's frustrated. I thought we had a nice back and forth, good conversation. Try to give you guys some stuff to think about as we move forward here. Paul, anything else before we say goodbye? I'm good.
Can I have a lollipop on the way out?
I want something a little stronger than a lollipop. For Paul Dottino, I'm John Schmeelk. Thank you to Pearson Butler for joining us on Big Blue Kickoff Live, presented by Cowboys. And by the way, guys, tune in tomorrow. We're still having our Saturday show on WFAN at 7 a.m. We take your calls, 888-808-1019 on the Fan on Saturday mornings at 7. We'd love to get your calls tomorrow. We don't have a game to preview, so I guess we'll be reacting more, yay for me, to the Cowboy game on Thursday night, Sean Marash and I. So if you guys are listeners to Big Blue Kickoff Live, tune in tomorrow morning, give us a call. We'd love to hear from you and talk some Giants football. For Paul Dottino, I'm John Schmeelk. That's Big Blue Kickoff Live presented by Cadillac, the official luxury vehicle of the New York Giants. We'll see you on Monday at 12:30, everybody.
Some people just know they could save hundreds on car insurance by checking Allstate first. Like to check the date of the big game first before you accidentally buy tickets on your 20th wedding anniversary and have to spend the next 20 years of your marriage making up for it. Yeah, checking first is smart. So check Allstate first for a quote that could save you hundreds. You're in good hands with Allstate. Savings vary. Terms apply. Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
You go into your shower feeling... But as soon as you reach for the Irish Spring, your day immediately gets better. That crisp, fresh, unmistakable Irish Spring scent zings your brain and awakens your senses. So when you finally emerge from the shower, 37 minutes later, because you pay the water bill so you can stay in there as long as you want, you're ready to take on the day and smell great doing it. Irish Spring Body Wash and Bar Soap. Fresh, green, Irish. Shop now at Walmart.